Welcome back. We're to double digits on the micro vlogcast this season. Still here with Matt and Kelsey. We want to talk a little bit about existing buildings. So last episode we talked about how can we be thoughtful in the design of our buildings. However, a lot of buildings, actually maybe all buildings that exist, are already existing. And so we need to figure out, I know, there you see what I did there. You got to figure out how on earth can we reduce the carbon footprint and the carbon impact associated with operating our facilities? So I'm just curious if either of you have any thoughts on like, where does an organization start if they say, I want to figure out how to use less carbon, use less energy in my building. Where might they start? Don't all go at once.
Well, I'll jump into this one. I think for a lot of the work that we do here at Foresight is organized around historic existing buildings for our clients. And so we get asked to do energy audits, we get asked to do retro commissioning, we get asked to do lots of things around how can we save energy in existing buildings. And so that's certainly a pathway towards decarbonizing the building stock, the existing building stock. Because for most existing buildings, the significant component of its carbon impact comes from that operational energy. The other thing, and I think this is where I'm going to kick it back to Kelsey, is thinking through, putting it a little bit on the spot, as buildings typically outlast their intended use. So how can an investment into a building that is generational survive and like provide value beyond like after its initial sort of like program or what it's intended to be used for is done? How can we reimagine that investment, that existing building stock into new and innovative ways to continue to provide value to organizations beyond the initial like big idea?
Yeah, I think I'm going to throw it back to last episode talking about resource management. One of the biggest resources we have as designers and as community is existing buildings. So being able to look at that building from the bones kind of and saying what's the structural bay, what was the use, and what can you get rid of to open up the floor plan and provide daylight into a deeper space in the floor plate and get more natural daylight, more healthy access for the building occupants. There's a lot of ways you can just shift the building use with space plan and make it usable for people. And then a lot of times upgrading the envelope and the mechanical systems are pretty minor adjustments you can make to air tighten it and save energy as well, all while preserving that existing embodied carbon resource of existing buildings.
There you go. And that's just a good reminder too. I think in America it's easy to forget like there are buildings that have been around for 500 years and have been operated. And so like I think it's easy for us to be like, oh, this is a newer building, but when you get into the community, like some buildings will be around for hundreds of years. So the ability to understand how it uses energy in its past life and how we can optimize it for the next phase of its existence is key.
Yeah, and how can it be more resilient and more responsive to the climate that's adapting that it needs to work within.
Well, great discussion. Thanks everybody, and we'll see you next time. I was definitely having some fun with that.
I'll tell you the thing about existing buildings is that they are there.
They're there.
They're already existing.
They